Blessings and welcome. I am Tuesday May Thomas, and this is your weekly tarot energy forecast for January 28th through, no, for December 28th of 2018 through till January 8th of 2019. It's so very exciting. Thank you, as always, everybody, for joining and hopping on. I'm so very excited to bring you this week's reading. Thank you and welcome to all of the new subscribers. If you're here joining me for the first time, I really appreciate it. If you like what you hear, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe too. Hit that red bell and subscribe. I offer a weekly tarot reading, a weekly live stream called 4D Trinity, where we uncover truths of spiritual domain, spiritual sovereign passages through our multidimensionality. We learn how to master our time and space and so much more there. So thank you everyone, all of the support. Know that you can join me at my website, tuesdaymaythomas.com. Sign up for my monthly love letter, and there we can keep in touch through your email box. All of my links to my books and so much more is down below, so please make sure to check it out. One last announcement, I am still servicing my $30 for 30 minutes tarot reading, private through PayPal, Google. We can set it up. Send me an email down in the show more box, and I will be so very grateful to have a communication with you and to see how that can organize itself. So welcome. As you know, we use the Osho Zen Tarot here, and we also use a card from the Voyager deck, the James Wanless Voyager deck. That's what the back of them looks like. And here's the little book that we use, okay? So what we've been doing is going for a Voyager card to start our reading off as sort of an overview. So we're going to take a moment, take a breath, and call in our angels and our guides. Connect with higher self. All of those light beings who love us, we welcome you and we bless you. We welcome you. And we thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining this reading. May I sign myself into, yes, I may, the keynote of all those participants guided to join here now or later. May every message truly serve in facilitating and holding space in the highest light of the sovereign domain, the sovereign connection, the sovereign grounding and anchoring and rooting of each and every one of us, guided to be here, guided to participate here in any way, shape, and form. May we all be served, and so it is, in the highest light. So what do? A chunk fell on the ground. A chunk is here. What do? Well, okay, the one card that's just blaringly, staringly at me is the Tower. And I do feel that this is what's up, so we're going to use it. We are going to go for it, okay? We're going to read from our little book to gain insight on the Tower as the setup for our reading. So often these cards that we pull at the beginning are exactly that. They are what is going to serve as the background for the deeper strata of our reading. So let's just take a moment here, observing into this picture, and I'm going to read. The Tower, symbolizing the law of purification, is a revolutionary cleansing of all levels of your being. The pre-Columbian Incan warrior jumping from the tower symbolizes the purging of your impurities. The burning effigy represents the burning up of your dark aspects. Burn out what does not belong in your life. To view the sun, your eye, from the top of the tower symbolizes intense self-examination. See the mental patterns and beliefs you must destroy. See the negative emotions you must put to flame. See the physical toxins you must expurgate. See the worldly situations and circumstances you must change. See the aspects of yourself which are not really you, that you must sacrifice, that you must release. By leaping into the alchemist's furnace, melt down the old inner and outer structures. Thus a metamorphosis occurs, symbolized by the red-winged blackbird, the first bird to herald the return of spring. There is a new dawning. There is a new dawning, and you restructure your life in the light of the Tower. So it is time, my friends, you know, and I certainly feel it. Do you feel it? Where it's just like all of the little things, all of the niggly things, all of the stuff that we've been doing our best to do our work, write our energy letters, forgive, heal. It's like all of that has created the correct conditions for the real blaze to happen. It's like we've created the correct conditions for the fire to really burn, for all that tinder of self that has been gently dismantling as we've been unraveling these patterns of who we thought we were, these patterns of self that have certainly served us in knowing our path, of knowing thyself, to the point where we are now, where we say, and who else? And what else am I? And show me, universe. What else am I to be? I know there's more. And before we can know what's more, before we can relax into that knowing, into that surrendering, into that vibrating as those parts of ourselves that are more, what gets to happen is this releasing, is this death, is this tower, is the fully flinging off and relinquishing of all that is ready to go, 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 go. And this is deep. I mean, we're going to find out more in our Osho Zen here. It's very, very deep, because we're here at the holiday time, where chances are you're around family that you're not usually around. You're doing things that you wouldn't usually be doing because it's holiday time. You're out of your usual setting. You're not in your day-to-day grind. Perhaps I'm just offering that. I know it has been for me. And what a wimp. I put that in a bubble of light. And I say that jokingly with myself, but it's like, wow, you know, we can really just get so used to our ways. And I'm a Taurus, so I'm maybe in the 3D prone to that, of just getting really into my structured systems. And the moment something comes in, or like the schedule is changed, or the diet is changed, God forbid, something is different from how it usually is, you know, I'm like, whoa, I gotta recalibrate, you know. And it's not always like that, and it hasn't always been like that. And I think we unlearn that. And it's not that it's bad. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, or that what you're into is not serving you. It's just the ability to be flexible, the ability to have such a consistent release and relinquish, to judge our circumstances and our environments, is ultimately the root that sets us free consistently, constantly. That which releases us from the past or from the future. And so this is a big deal, because this purification of the tower is what is ready to happen, this purification within us. So the point being that it's very possible, okay, so we already had jumpers from this pack, it's very possible that this time spent, and again, it doesn't have to mean you get all discombobulated and put out of joint, you know. Yet it's like a small car wreck. Or it can be, you know, spending time with the fam and being not in your town, and the weather's different, or whatever it is, and it's just like, oh, bloop, you get to like calibrate, you get to acclimate, you get to accept, you get to align, you get to allow, and surrender ultimately. And it's in that surrendering, it's in those different environments and ways of us experiencing ourselves, that the minutia, that the stuff, the tars, all that's ready to break off, to dismantle, and to be released and purified through this tower energy that's here, is going to do it. That taking yourself out of your usual everyday, even if you don't have the experience of something so far out, or you're still in your same town and nothing has changed too much. Honey, just having a few days off sometimes for the holidays, you're like, oh, if you haven't been looking at your life situations, having those few days off, you're like, ooh, sometimes people just get sick because they're so used to working in stress mode that when they actually have a couple days off, they spend it in bed, just relaxing, but really they're sick because they're de-stressing. Or or you just really get to see things in a different light. And perhaps there's some things there that require purifying, that require your gaze, your clear gaze of that third eye, that require that higher mind and that higher heart to say, okay, this is what I'm ready to purge. Also being around family and friends and situations and different environments, we see through their eyes and through this other set of eyes or perceptions or set of lenses and judgments that we wouldn't usually be in the presence of, because maybe we're just in our circle of people, or in this little, I go to work, I hang out with this person, I go home, you know, and so we start to be engaged in exchanges that are different from our day-to-day norm, and that's enough to create the correct conditions to loosen the moorings, or to trigger or to push buttons in certain places. And so we're already having flyers from the deck, just as I was shuffling earlier, and you know, it's all good where we're going. And what I was getting right away is that this is such a massive integration of this Kundalini energy. You know, the tower requires us to be clear. We did a 4DT recently, a 4D Trinity, my weekly live stream on the crystalline tube, this main channel that houses the chakras and the spine, but that also connects us directly to God, directly to love, directly to light, to that magnetic force where there is love and only judge. Isn't that funny that I said that? Love and only love, I will say. It is free of judgment, free of fear. But the degree that our tube, that our channel, the channel that we are, is awakened and freed and ready to receive those levels of love is to the degree that we will experience it in our day-to-day. And that's all the tower is doing. The tower is saying, like, purify, cleanse, let go. There's more for you here. The only way we can give you more is if you keep letting go. So there's less. So there's less stuff blocking the true flow and the integration of this amazing Kundalini life force energy, of this amazing potential, of this new rebirth, of this new balance, of this integration. My goodness, we have been at work this year. We have been doing so much to allow those parts of ourselves that were just suffering and pain. And I really don't like to use that word suffering, yet it's the word that comes right now. The parts of us that were just dragging along in 2018, and it's okay, you know, but there's a time where you only go for so long with the limb hanging, and it's like, you know what, it's time, we need more than a band-aid. It's time, let's really address this, or let's really bless this, let's really heal this, let's really let this go. There's the cycles, and we've been in our cycles of change, of taking new directions, of the releasing of withholding so much love, of allowing ourselves to experience love with those in our family that perhaps there have been a lot of stagnant energy for some time. We're allowing ourselves to relax into love itself. And love is always that which is within. And the purification that is seen itself, that is set to happen in this tower card, in the breaking down of these old structures and these old ways that we have been rudimentary, and the ways that we have been doing A to B to C equals D. That's asking, that's saying, knock, 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 hello, we've got 2019 in the 3D, right? This like new time phase, new timelines, new opportunities, new possibilities, new success, new relationships, new ways to be you, to experience the world. Yet, if you are not willing to let go of the old you and allow the continuation of this integration of the parts of self that you now know are true to you, then it's not going to be able to meet you there. You get to keep meditating. My God, I know, keep breathing. And I feel this is very powerful. I did a reading for someone this week, and everything, and it's funny because we have her here, the harmony, which we'll get into here shortly, but also in her voice. It's all about meditating. It's all about being in tune with your higher self. It's all about breathing. The dolphins specifically turn us on to the breath, to the inhale, to the exhale, to the relaxing, the softening, the opening of the third eye, the crystal, the clear amplification of messages from your third eye, from your higher self, down into your 3D human self. The divine ways that all of that wisdom is connected to cosmos, to source, to Mother Earth, to love itself, that it is that. That is here for us. In the purging and the purification through this tower card, that is here for us. It is allowing, it is inviting, it is welcoming us to relax, to keep seeing those parts of self that are ready to be dismantled, ready to love, ready to be loved into their wholeness, ready to be loved alchemically, to just love them, not even to change them, but to just practice love, to just see love. I feel that this is a huge initiation with this last layer of purification. And again, coming out of the holidays, there may be situations or experiences you're having or that you've had with family that are ready to be let go of, that are just seeking and waiting for your conscious, remember last month, or last week, just your gaze over at them, to acknowledge them and to change it by seeing love there. And I speak for myself too. I've had some very interesting experiences over this holiday where I'm like, oh yeah, wow. I've seen movies about this where like holiday time and family time are not always the most may not always be the most harmonious, and people's personalities and just interesting stuff comes up, and I'm like, oh, I thought I was immune to that. It is interesting though. This may or may not resonate, but this does feel that these people, these places, these environments, and the way that we've been invited to be different over this holiday period and over the new year, because it's not over yet, we're still in it, that there's this purge, there's this purification, there's this conscious seeing of like, oh, that triggered me, oh, my brother said that and all this stuff came up, oh, my mom projected that, and then woof, all this stuff came up. And just like last month, what are we not taking into 2019 with us? What are we willing to consciously put into the fire? Have you ever done a sweat lodge? It's a beautiful shaman couple that I got to sweat lodge with many, many years and many, many times. And if one should arrive early enough, there's a ceremony that they did at the beginning to heat the stones, where everybody participated in gathering pieces of wood from the land that we'd already had the blessing from the space or the people to gather the woods to heat the stones for the ceremony. And we'd go about and we'd gather our stones, and then one by one they would call in and make it official, and it would be a ceremony, and we would be very present in our awareness with that. And one by one, each person would put their piece of firewood in the fire of what they're ready to burn up, of what they are seeking to work on in that sweat lodge, of what they're allowing and consciously choosing to purify, to be done with, for that thing, for that experience, for that pattern, for that trigger, for that projection, for that judgment, for whatever it is, to have those experiences to keep happening to you. Why do they keep happening? Because they're in you. And so, like, let me complete with this now. I'm ready to be done with this. So massive, massive, massive invitation to continue purifying, continue to create the correct conditions within yourself, that purification is easy, that it doesn't have to be a rear ending and so a cajoling of your spinal channel, so that it can be easy, that as you eat as best as you can and be mindful in moderation with your drugs or your alcohol or whatnot, that when the enlightenment is ready and the kundalini comes knocking on your door and it's ready to unveil, that it can be with the greatest ease and grace that it comes. And believe me, I'm talking to myself. And we're doing the best that we can, and still sometimes there are physical things that happen, there are ailments that happen, there are, quote, setbacks that might occur, or seeming setbacks. It's all perfect, you see, and that's a part of the illusion. We get to get out of those paradigms, right? We get to get out of thinking that this is a punishment. No, honey, this is a blessing. You experiencing the death of the tower, the purification, the purging energetically of the tower energy is a celebration. It is preparing you to have more, to be more, to experience more, to receive more. This is the divine feminine. And it's an emotional, it's a feeling place, really, this celebration energy. It's collapsing time in the past and in the future, so that what is truly abiding in the now is so perceived as precious, is so perceived as inherently blessed, is so honored and revered for its divine simplicity or complexity, whatever it might be, but that it is accepted and surrendered to and worked with and danced with. And as that tower card was saying, to be an alchemist with this energy, and to know that the work is within. It is not to create lead to gold through something outside of yourself, but it is to know thyself divine, to work that energy within ourselves by acknowledging those areas of life that are ready to be purified, cleansed, and renewed, so that Kundalini can make its way up through the spinal channels. And our experience is going to be what it's going to be, yet ultimately, for ourselves, we know, how to create the correct conditions so that it is with the greatest grace. And ultimately, whatever path you take, it's like if you feel yourself coming down with a cold, yet you're supposed to go to a party that night where there's going to be a lot of drinking and loud noise and whatever, and your higher self is saying, ooh, girl, or ooh, boy, you getting the sniffles, best to just rest, just chill out. But you're like, oh no, I know if I go, I might want to smoke, and I might want to drink, but it's okay, it's okay, I'll just rest really good. But your higher self is saying, well, but what I'm telling you is the truth. And you're like, okay, but I want to go the other way. Ultimately, each path is going to bring you back to love. It's just how you decide to get there. And with maturity, though, it's saying like you are your higher self. You've already been integrating your higher self into you. You can hear your higher self is what this card is saying. And to stay on this path of least resistance, of being able to celebrate everything everywhere all the time, is to listen, is to keep ourselves in a sense of vibrational alkalinity, is to keep ourselves, our thoughts, our words, our minds aligned with this presence of purification. Well, I'm tempted to do this or to do that. And really what I feel is that beyond the physical gross experimentation, it's what precedes it. It is the intention. It is the intentionality of, it's not necessarily like, just say, right, that you're coming down with a cold, and you also know that in the past, in your history of your experience, that and you're a smoker and you feel a cold coming on, and you know from the past that if you smoke a cigarette, even though you really want one, that it's going to like stir things up and maybe make you experience more of a cold, right? Yet that's an old paradigm. And so where the example that they're giving us is, it's not just about that smoking a cigarette when you feel that you're coming down with a cold, it's what's underlying it. So in that way, with life, what is ready to be purified or purged? Where are the patterns ready to be changed? It's not just that you're smoking a cigarette or have that craving when you think you're coming down with something, but it's the setup. It's the decisions that you've made and the agreements you've made as a part of that contract of what happens in the outcome if you smoke a cigarette. Of course, for me, right? If you smoke a cigarette, when that happens. And so it's like we're busting out of these old paradigms. And as long as we listen to higher self, we're going to stay in the zone of vibrational alkalinity. But I know, honey, sometimes you want to be the rebel. And sometimes experiencing being the rebel is exactly that which changes things, And sometimes we learn from the outside in. So sometimes we say, well, you know what? I know there's an inner pattern that gets to be healed with this whole like smoking when I'm sick, and is it going to make me more sick thing, or whatever it might be. And instead of trying to go in there and reword the pattern, I'm just going to have that cigarette. I'm going to be the rebel, and I'm just going to freaking do what I want to do, and I'm just going to break the chains. I don't even need to know what those chains are, but I'm going to allow myself to break those chains of limitations and have a new experience. And I don't need to figure out anything that comes before it. And in that way, what precedes it is given the correct conditions to be reordered, to be re-recorded through you, to be reconfigured. And chances are you will loop back around and you'll say, I have a new level of understanding now of why I felt so much fear. And that whole belief system wasn't even mine. Boom, I'm going to fly out and have a new experience of my sovereign self, of my rebellious self, of my not buying into the status quo, of my not buying into the stories that I'm told. Because it's all stories. The stories that I'm told about who I should be and how I should be who I should be. It's so very interesting, and this card, the Rebel, is seated right next to flowering. So that's our masculine and feminine energies just percolating, overflowing, our ability to love ourselves, our ability to share that love with others, and our ability to allow that love to say no thank you. Sometimes love says no. It doesn't always say yes just because it's love. Sometimes love says no. And it's in those saying no to those patterns, right, that have put us in this place in the first place. I'm joking. It's saying no to those patterns, yes, okay, to a level that have gotten us here, but that we're ready now. We recognize this spiral and we're ready now to unspiral and to have a new experience of the spiral, so to speak. And so we're saying, okay, I see you. I get you. I'm ready to rise up to meet these situations, this circumstance, and I'm just going to bust through it. And I'm going to let love show me after. So there's like these two different ways of going through and going about them. And they are both aligned with the master. They are both aligned with the sense of maturity. It's just two different ways of getting there, right? Of holding back, of meditating, of listening, of honoring, or, throwing over the tables and just being like, well, that's one way to do it. Here's another way to do it, where you just stir the pot and let whatever's supposed to fall out and fly out go, and then you read the sticks, you read the bones, you read the spill, and you allow that to be your divine guidance for your next step. And what it comes back to is this breathing. Coming back to allowing the breath to offer an altered state of consciousness for us, whereby we can know who we are without the old stories. And this sounds like a broken record, because all we've been doing is this. But when we relax, we breathe, we get out of the normal or not normal breathing cycles that we inhabit in every day, and then we can drop into this sense of syncopating, our ability to see with our light sight, our ability to see in the dark with our heart becomes elevated and activated. And that's a part of the gift of this purification. It's honoring and blessing those first three chakras and all the work we've been doing there. And it's allowing for that energy to move up into the heart, into the throat, into the third eye, so that as above, so below, to bridge that space at the heart that is the bridge between the lower chakras and the higher chakras, to enter that domain, that spaciousness of innocence, this amazing innocence, whereby we realize and we recognize the divine, sweet presence of all creation. We really pause and we're present. And it's so challenging to do that when we're constantly hungover, or we are addicted to certain substances or people or places or things. There's so many things that can distract us, and I feel that this is what we're being invited into in this purification, is to be really honest with yourself and allow that stuff to be released, that stuff, those patterns to be relinquished, to give them away, write an energy letter to them, give them to God, make it conscious, go to the mountain, do something ceremonial, so that you can then relax and come back to a sense of ordinariness, where you don't do anything at all, but all is done for you. Okay, that's better. We have more light. Where things are done for you, on behalf of you. There is a celebration that is ready and waiting for your presence. There is an angelical, I feel this presence that surrounds you, that wants to hold you, that wants to open the way for you. Yet there's also equally this purification that's happening. And it's almost a renouncing. It's almost a renouncing. And there are secrets. I don't know how you are with secrets, but there are certain secrets that our shadow or our tar body would never have us share, because in that way it gives the power of it away. When we keep it a secret, then it has the power over us. When we reveal the secret no longer, on one level, has a sacred anchor within us, but also it takes its power away. So depending on the secret, if it's something very dear to you that you want to keep just for you, then do it. You don't have to give all your secrets away. Yet, if you have a problem with food, and your tar body, your shadow aspect of self, doesn't want you to tell anyone, because it tells you You'll feel more shame. You should be ashamed of yourself. So why are you going to tell that secret to anyone? Whatever all the bad self-doubt stuff that could come born of fear in sharing that, well, the tar body, the toxic twin of your light body, is going to give you every reason why you shouldn't share that secret. And so it will stay in its power, that pattern of abusing food or of overeating, say, if that's the case. Whereas if you can own that secret, and with the right person, in the right setting, in the right environment, maybe it's a therapist, a counselor, or someone that's going to hold it sacred and just see you unconditionally, where you can reveal that secret, well then, that secret is out in the open and it no longer has the same power that it did before. And now it has a witness, an unbiased witness. And it's like, oh, fuck. You know, that secret's like, damn, I had so much power as long as I was hidden within that subconscious strata, operating behind the scenes, you know, your every gesture, your every motion and move. And so, wow, we're going really way out there in a long trajectory, but it feels that this is like the subconscious. This is like when I share attunements with students and they get their level 1 and then they move to their level 2. It's like that level 1. It feels so good. And at the same time, it's working so deep to break up patterns in the subconscious. That's what this energy is doing. It's breaking up all of those patterns in the subconscious that are ready to go, that are ready to flee, that are ready to be burned in the fire of transmutation. So imagine you're at that sweat lodge and you walked in the forest and you found this piece of wood that you know is your piece of wood to put into that fire. What word, what value, what quality is on it that you wish to burn up? So for example, there might be some people saying, I allow now the anger that I walk with, that I hold, to be burned in this ceremony. And they put the wood in the fire. I allow all my fears about money to be burned in the fire. I allow all my fears of success to be burned in the fire. These are just ideas. These are just examples. But like if you had a piece of wood, let's take a moment. Ooh, the whole house just went. So let's take a moment. If you were at that sweat lodge and you had your sacred piece of wood to put into that fire, what are you burning up now? What do you know you're burning up now? And maybe there's one thing, maybe there's a handful of things. What is it that you consciously, clearly, willingly let go of? I feel like I would choose to let go of time, of the beliefs that I have, of the power that I've given time. That's what I'd like to allow my... That's what I'd allow my piece of wood to be like. I relinquish time. Boom. You know? But not just that. I mean, it sounds really light and fluffy, but I mean, whatever it is, think about all the attachments that you have to it and how it affects you in your life, you know, and allow yourself to let go big. Let go of guilt, let go of pain, of shame, of that story, of that person, of that job, of whatever it is. And then allowing the transmutational, allowing the purification that's happening anyway, that's in its cycle to happen anyway, just getting out of the way, knowing what it is, that you're inviting that fire energy to burn out of you, and then just surrendering and letting it, you know, letting it just consume you. It's almost like we have no choice. You know, and the only way it's not going to consume us is if we really go towards one other direction and create the incorrect conditions for a purification to happen. It'll still happen, but it won't. It'll be fizzy, and we might just get irritated or constipated, or we will not have the ability to see the full picture, and the power then that this purification has can be limited. So let us honor it. Let us be awakened to the presence of purification this next week, December 28th through January 8th in 2019. This is massive, and I think, is it the 6th, 7th, or 8th where we have our first eclipse? And forgive me, I don't know if it's solar or lunar, but here we go, right out the gate. Big changes. So, and we know those big changes from last time, from all the work we've been doing this year. Right? Again, what baggage are you bringing into you with 2019? What's in your closet? What's in your closet? Clean it out. Clean it out. Because it's holding you back. There's no heart. There's no vision. It's not you. Whatever this is that is still remnant is not you. And it's going to block this journey. It's not going to block it. Okay, that's pretty heavy. But there's a journey that you are set to go on. This is a very powerful journey with a very, very, very close and good friend. And somehow these three cards came out together. There's something the universe wants to show you about yourself, about life, about you. And to the degree that you can clean out the closet, that you can let go, if you haven't used it in 6 months, if you haven't used it in a year, if you are saying, why do I carry this around with myself? I don't know, it's just been in my purse, this old chapstick, for like 3 years. Like, throw that thing out, girl. You know, if there's a piece of clothing or just some random thing that you're like, I don't even know why I have this, chances are it's because you're done. You know, you can also talk to it, the ring or the chapstick or the book or whatever it might be, but you know what's in your closet. You know, and that can be energetically or metaphorically. What's in there? Is there an emotional pattern? Is there literally a thing that you get to be like, why do I still have this? Does this represent me? Like, what am I holding on to energetically as I hold on to this thing or these things or this paradigm or this person or this job, whatever it might be? So let's allow for some clarification or any other divine guidance these cards, our Osho Zen Tarot, would love to facilitate for our beautiful community, December 28th through January 8th of 2019. We welcome your divine wisdom in our closing of this reading. This beautiful time gap, this time space, as we move out of 2018 into 2019, what would you have us know? What would you have us be aware of, dear God? Ooh, dear God. Well, okay then. Our angels, our guides, all of those light beings we love, our animal totems, all of those blessed angels. Okay, here we go. One fell. Well, this is really, really powerful. So remember I had this, I'm glad I didn't put it away. So it's very interesting, right? We had this morality in this, like, just letting go of what's not letting you be you. And then we have this dear friendship, this friendliness. And this card speaks to, this is either someone you know where your connection, your intimate friendship is going to go to the next level, whatever that means. And here there's two trees, each of them stand individually. There's no, what's it called? When it's not codependent, right? Each individual is its own individual tree, yet their branches merge, their roots merge, they stand alone, yet they are two. This is a very, very close connection that you either have with someone and that connection is getting ready to be bumped up into the next level of its connection, or it's someone new that you're going to meet, whereby this opportunity to travel is going to come about. But you're traveling. You're going places with this person, and you've been places with them because look what's here. It's past lives. You guys know each other, or you girls, or you boy and girl, or whatever you are. You know each other. You have work to do. There is, and the work, so there's work here to do on this side of it because look, we have sorrow and the burden. We know these chaps. This is all the BS. This is all the story. This is all the tears. I mean, it's not all BS, because there are tears that you get to cry for yourself. There's things that you get to feel for yourself that no one else can feel. So again, I'm getting really strong, is it's like, stop looking for your mother to love you in a way that she just has not shown you that she's capable of. Stop putting the pressure on her. Stop making yourself miserable by feeling that because she can't do that for you, you're unlovable. You know, these are the kinds of patterns, these are the kinds of things that are getting ready to be purged from our consciousness, from our subconscious, from the way that we've been allowing life to guide us. It's time to let them go. It's time to let them go so that you can grow. And there is this emotional paradigm. There's this emotional, you know, those tears are connected to clouds, and as you cry, those clouds dissolve and they can then move on. Once you've seen them, once you've honored them, and then as soon as you do that, the burden of you being really driven by your fears versus being driven by the adventure of life, by the truth in your heart, by your calling that is free of all that stuff. That's what's ready for you here. This is what's ready for you here. How can I do 4? I've never done 4. We'll do 2 and 2. Traveling, friendliness, adventure, past lives. So this is what I was saying, is that there's work for you to do, for you individually to do on this side in 2018, say. There's the work that you get to do in preparing yourself, in letting go of needing it to be whatever you think it needs to be in order to have this journey, in letting go of those people that they're not showing up how you need them to show up so you can be happy. Let it go. Whatever it is, like the inner deep workings, pay attention, journal, meditate, be in nature. Because there is an amazing adventure waiting for you in 2019 that wants to take you traveling to places you've never been before, to see and to meet people, to do things that you've never done before, to meet people who know you from before, to do all this with someone you know from before and who knows you from before. And I get where all your needs are met, where all you have to do, all you get to do, should I say, I will say, is show up and allow. Allow yourself to receive. But again, that tube, your crystalline tube, your ability to receive, your ability to channel that light, that love that you truly are, and more of that, right, is calibrated to the degree that you do this work right now. You do this work right now. And look what I have. We're going to end on that, is the Lovers. There's so much here for you. There's so much here for me. There's so much. There's so much that doesn't ever have to come to pass also. There's just signposts along the way. But there is so much love. There is so much of life waiting to hold you. And you've been doing the work. We've been doing the work. We've been continually creating these correct conditions to let go, to let God, to let go of control, to let go of the hurt, of the pain, of the blame, of the shame, of the victim, of all those cycles, those mentalities, and those things that have been holding us back. But 2019 wants to show you love. It wants to show you love of a new order, and a love that you can grow with, and a love that you very possibly could grow with someone with. But we're going to end it right there at the Lovers. And we're going to let that just linger, that invitation to greater love. And really what it is it's an invitation to higher love. We all say we want that higher love. But when it shows up in a way that we don't recognize it, then we get confused. Universe says, here's that higher love. And you're like, but I ordered it with the brown tires? And universe is like, cute, here's your higher love. So, but what you do with it is what you do with it. And even to be able to come to that place to recognize it in the first place requires the unraveling, the undoing of you that we've been doing. We have been doing that. And you've been doing such a good job. We all have. We're creating new timelines. We're creating new, boundless potentials so that we can feel love, yes, with a sacred other, and to have that experience, right, that is free and unbound and unlimited. I mean, wow, that's really powerful. But we don't want to keep attracting those kinds of people or those kinds of patterns, those kinds of situations that we've been attracting maybe for cycles of, years and years and years. And here we are. Again, I'm going to leave you with, what are you not taking with you to 2019? And very often we do not focus on what we do not want. We don't stay there. Yet this feels like this is such a culmination point leading us out to 2018 into 2019. What are you not bringing with you? When you look down at your luggage before you get on that 2019 jet plane, taking you off to this new shore, this new adventure, this new destination with people that you're going to meet from your past lives that are going to totally see you and like take care of you and open doors for you, and where you get to lean on a friend gets to lean on you, and you get to deepen your friendship and have new experiences in bigger and beautiful ways. What gets to be released so that that can happen? Not just once, but every single day, that you can have the experience of the miracle, of the masterpiece and the master that you are, and live and experience that in the world. Amen. Well, happy New Year to you. I'm so very grateful for this beautiful community. If you resonate with all of these juicy points, or even some of them, give me the thumbs up. If you just are passing through, subscribe if you're interested in this. I do my weekly tarot readings. I have a weekly live stream. Over 300 videos here at this channel on everything: meditation, spiritual growth, multidimensionality, everything. And I pray and I affirm that it all serves your divine path of sovereignty and spiritual growth. I have some books you can download for free. I also have some books you can buy. You can donate to this channel if you want your own private reading. I'm doing a special $30 for a 30-minute reading. Google Hangouts and PayPal is how I roll. Send me an email with your info down below, and I will get back to you ASAP. So much love, so much light. Namaste, and thank you so very much. Happy New Year, everyone. Blessings.